Hi, I'm Brittany Rizzo, and welcome to My Only Friends. On today's episode, we get to hang out with Sam Valentine. Sam Valentine is an actress from all over the Midwest, born and raised in Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Illinois. After graduating from Missouri State University with a degree in theater and mass media, she moved to LA to start her career in film and TV. Sam has booked several national commercials, voiceovers, TV roles, and most of all, feature films. Sam also created and runs One Broke Actress, a podcast and website dedicated to sharing the honest world of the working actor. Dare I say this is the most vulnerable episode of the podcast for me. I could have talked to Sam for hours. Her work with One Broke Actress and her kindness had such an impact on me. The universe definitely brought us to this conversation at a time when I needed it the most. This episode reminds me of the Friends episode, the one with mac and cheese. The Friends reflect on all the jobs they've had to endure to get to where they are today. Sam and I talk about our worst jobs, from nannying to delivering pizzas. We all have to work side hustles that humble us until we book that one job, just like Joey Tribbiani. You can listen to Sam's show, One Broke Actress, everywhere you get your podcasts, and check out her website, onebrokeactress.com. She has essentially created a survival guide for actors, and that's something I wish I had a decade ago. Please enjoy my conversation with the lovely Sam Valentine.
Beautiful. Okay, how does that sound?
Oh, wow, that sounds amazing.
It's way better. I think we have the same mic,
Oh, maybe.
right? Yeah, it's a Shure, right? Is that the one you have?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're so good.
I know. And I never realized how much it picks up, though.
Oh, do you feel like you get a lot of background noise in yours?
I do. Like, there was one episode I had to go through the entire thing because, of course, they decided to mow the lawn outside the morning. I did. And I was like, no. But I was like, oh, this is what I'm doing, so it's okay.
This is what it is.
I know. I know.
Let me just make sure. I'm going to make sure my dogs are secure real quick. Sorry, hold on.
Okay.
Of course, now I have myself boxed into a corner here.
I know.
Okay. You guys are very good. Okay. Okay. Everybody stay where you are. All right. Now I think we're set. Thank you for that.
Of course. It's nice to, I feel like, finally meet you. I'm like, I feel like I've had a lot of like overlapping with you as far as like I see you on somebody's podcast and then I'll be on their podcast and then like our guests will be on my podcast or your podcast. And I'm like, I love how the community gets when we're all kind of like intertwined somehow, and it's just fun to see everybody working together.
Yeah, it feels much more joyous and less competitive. What year did you start acting?
Acting, I moved out here in 2013 for acting.
Okay.
Or no, 2012. 2012 maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was when it was a little more gatekeepy.
I still feel like
it's better now, I think.
I think so too. And I feel like, I mean, I'd love to get your opinion on self-tapes. I mean, for example, I love self-tapes because of the anxiety I have about time management. Like, even if it's 11:31, I'm like, oh my God, she didn't get the Zoom link and I screwed up somehow. Like, I will be sitting here for 45 minutes. Like, I can't be late. I can't be late. So when I would do like in-person auditioning, oh my God, it was like the most anxiety in the world, thinking just because I thought I was going to be late for something. Now with self-tapes, it's like I can breathe. I don't have to actually be anywhere. But I know a lot of people don't like self-tapes, where I'm like, I've auditioned more in the past 3 years than I did the first 10 years I was out here.
Oh, that's great. That's great. No, I like self-tapes.
Yeah.
I do. At first it was awkward because you didn't know what your setup was, right? Like you didn't understand how to do it and it felt illegitimate. And now we've legitimized it in a way, but now we've almost taken it to the pendulum has swung, and now, it's cinematic self-tapes and all of these things. And I think that we'll figure it out, but I think some people, I also like going in a room because I love a redirect. I love meeting people. I mean, there's a reason I have a podcast, is because I really like talking to people. And there's some casting directors who I've been in office for recently, And it was really nice and refreshing to have that back. But at the same time, oh no, wait, my mic just went out.
Oh no.
Can you hear that?
I mean, I could still hear you, so
Hold on.
it might just be from your.
That is so weird. Okay, we might be getting this from my ear pods. Is that terrible?
No, it sounds fine still.
I don't know what happened. Oh, that's not a good sign. All right, well, we'll do it without it. Bummer on that. That's not good for me. Uh, but as long as it sounds okay to you.
Yeah,
So
you're fine.
self-tapes. I enjoy self-tapes because it's there is a freedom to it that we have found after that pendulum swung back from being awkward and feeling illegitimate. I feel like now it does feel very legitimate, and I think everyone's going to have their own take on it. But I also don't miss at all driving to
Mm,
4 different places in Los Angeles because I did that for years and I had to have a very specific type of job and I
mhm.
had to have a very specific type of lifestyle. And that sucked. Like it
Yeah.
really did. And I don't miss that at all.
Yeah.
I don't miss that portion of it. There are still some now that we have the rule in the new contract about casting needing to offer spots. I am curious how that's going to go. I think that some people jumped on that bandwagon initially and thought like, "Oh, now I have to see every casting director in town." And I'm like, "Okay, those spots are supposed to be for actors of a certain age and actors with disabilities, and then they're supposed to trickle down to us." Like the idea is if you cannot self-tape on your own, if you're in need of any capacity, those are supposed to go to you. And
Mhm.
then the rest of us should be open. But I don't think it's an automatic in to have, castings backhand.
Mhm.
I think also you can make anything anxiety driven if you choose.
My therapist would say that I, in fact, do.
It's mm-hmm. We all have it. We all have it. This job gives you no we don't have any feedback to tell us to not be anxious either.
Mhm. Mhm. Now, let's get back to the beginning though. I want to know like when did you move out
Mhm.
here? How long have you lived in LA? Where are you from?
Yeah. I moved here from the Midwest when I was 22.
Mm.
I moved to Los Angeles straight out of college with my theater degree, like ready to roll. And then I had my ass handed to me because I was not prepared whatsoever for this business. Came here I lived all over. I lived in like Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Illinois, outside of small towns, and
Mhm.
coming here and being in a place where everyone felt like they were 10 steps ahead of me
Mhm.
scared me because I had gotten to, as you grow in the ranks of high school, you become the big fish. As you grow in the ranks of college, you go from being the small fish to the big fish. And I thought, that I could find that in Los Angeles. And I am figuring it out. It just happens to be a bigger timeline than I had anticipated.
Mhm.
And I worked a ton of side jobs and did all of the things I thought I was supposed to do, like serving and bartending and nannying and all the things just to get around. I ran from audition to audition. I hired agents and then I fired agents because they were horrific. I've had so many reps. And I've just kept my head afloat long enough to figure out that I don't know enough to keep myself going.
Mm.
And in 2016, I started writing it down. I started talking about it more. And I developed was a blog at the time called One Broke Actress. And I was super nervous to share it because I thought, like, what if someone reads it? Now I'm like, can more people find it, please? Like, it's so much work. So that is where it came from. It turned into a podcast. Now, there's like an Instagram and YouTube, and
Mhm.
I have classes and an online membership and all of these things, but they all developed out of a desperation of wanting to know why I felt like I was the only one who couldn't figure out this business.
Mhm. Mhm. You do talk a lot about the side jobs, like having a good side job to
Hmm.
like keep you out here. What was one of your like worst side jobs?
Oof, oof. Ooh, that's a fun question. Okay, what was one of my worst side jobs? I was a personal assistant slash nanny
Oh
for
God,
about 48 hours
it's so bad.
for it was a tough one. I've had families that were lovely, like
Yeah.
lovely. Like they were amazing. I felt like I was a part of their family. And then this family, I think I maybe lasted a week tops.
Mm.
The mother is an old Hollywood actress. And not old Hollywood, like 30s, but like she had some big hits in her earlier days. And she was just a little left of center, like just had a lot of interesting ideas about how she wanted to treat me and how she wanted me to refer to her children and talk in her business. And it was a odd. And I remember she sent me on an errand and she needed something from Walgreens. It was a very standard, it was like a makeup wipe or something. And so after I dropped the kids off at school, she said, "Can you stop by Walgreens to get these makeup wipes?" And I said, "Sure, of course." So I go to the nearest Walgreens to the school and I texted her and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to go check out. Do you need anything else?" And she was like, "What Walgreens are you at?" I was like, I don't know, this the closest one right now. She was like, "No, no, no. I need you to go to the Walgreens on Sunset and Vine."
Uh,
And I don't know if you remember when there was a Walgreens there, but it was the bougiest Walgreens you've
of
ever seen. Like
course.
there was a sushi restaurant inside of that Walgreens. It has since closed. It's a terrible business decision to
Hmm.
be a fancy drugstore. But she had me stop buying. The item she wanted was in my hand. And she said, "I need you to go to the other Walgreens to get it because I'm not sure if it's the thing I want." And I was like, "This is the exact thing
Oh
you
my
sent me to get."
gosh.
And so she needed it bought from the bougie Walgreens. It was like, I was like, "I'm not, I'm not getting paid enough for this." And so I exited within a week.
I literally, I can't tell you. When I first moved out here, it was like I was a live-in nanny. And that was like
Mm,
and I mean, it was for she was a stage mom to the max. I mean, this kid was like 10 years old and she's like spoon feeding him in the dressing room, like that type of stage mom. Like I,
ew.
the nannying jobs, like again, there's some people who are like so sweet and you're like, and the kids are great, but it's
Mm.
always the moms. It's the moms where I'm like, like it is
Which makes you
very,
wonder, like, what pressure, because I'm like, I never blame the person. There's
mm-hmm,
always something outside of it. Like, who made you feel like you had to be this certain
mm,
type of mother? Like,
mm-hmm,
what influences made you feel that way? Who did this to you? Because nobody
mm-hmm.
just is that way. I swear it's like an LA vibe if they just become this. It's
Yeah.
an odd phenomenon. But that
Yeah.
that live-in nanny job was something I looked into for a while because I thought I didn't do it because I was like, I am in my prime, which is hilarious to think about. I had no idea what I was doing. But I looked at being a live-in nanny because I thought that would be great because then I would have rent covered and all of these things. Did you feel like it was a good experience overall, or was it pretty negative?
No, it was awful. I mean, do you want to work? Do you want to live at your job? Does anybody want to live at their job? I don't think so. So it's like you just really never,
No.
you're never like relaxed because you're like, you're always needed. And
Mm.
it kind of makes you feel like, oh my God, well, if I don't do this, they could kick me out of the house. Like I won't have a place to live if I don't do a good job today. Like that's the kind of pressure I would put on
Yeah, that's another
myself.
level.
Hmm. But I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and, like, when people say, like, waitressing, I wish I was a good waitress. I was the world's worst waitress, and I think that's why I'm just, like, I love Rachel Green so much because she's a terrible
Mm.
waitress too, but I mean,
Yeah.
I I was literally, like I always envied people when they can just, like, go get a job serving. I'm like, I can't do it. Like, it
Mm.
doesn't compute in my brain on how to wait on a table, like
Yeah. I've had a lot of servers that I wish felt the same way because I'm like, "You're not good at this. This is not for you." Because it's a very specific customer service job,
Mhm.
and you have to, like, eat a lot of crow. Like, you just have to allow the person to be however they are that day, and the thing I hated about that job was that people's moods would dictate how much money I made.
Mm.
And that was where I kinda had to step away because I was like, "Wait, I'm doing the same amount of work I did 2 days ago, but I'm making half as much because somebody's in a like, my tables are in bad moods." And there's
Mhm.
only so much you can do as a server to elevate someone's bad mood.
Mhm.
So, I totally understand. Actually, I had a dream the other night that I went back to waitressing, and I was very okay with it. So I was like, "If
Really?
I have to, if push comes to shove, I will do this again. I will do it differently, but I will do it again."
Yeah, I mean, I know I'll never forget. I did like this opening with the People's Choice Awards and we had it was like a two broke girls
Mm.
bit and they had burgers on the the tray. I don't even know what it's called on the
Mhm.
tray. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like, wait, they're not gluing these down? Like they move? Like I couldn't believe I had to walk with this food and like go up to Sandra Bullock and be like, do you want a burger? And I was like, if I fucking drop this on Sandra Bullock on live television, like I'm gonna pack my bags and move home. But I was like, I cannot believe this isn't glued down for me. Like it was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
no,
know what's
way
the
too soon.
worst?
Hmm,
Tray passing champagne
I would
is
die.
low key one of the hardest things you've ever done. I remember there was a New Year's I worked at a place called the Hudson that is now closed, but
Oh
RIP,
yeah.
somebody better bring it back one day. I
Hmm.
loved the Hudson. That's where
Hmm.
my husband and I first, I mean, I want to say dated, but like we got drunk and took each other home. But uh I was working in New Year's there as a server and they filled a whole tray with champagne, but they thought everyone was gonna get crazy. And so they used plastic glasses, which weigh about a half an ounce.
Hmm.
And they filled them with champagne. And then the second I picked up the tray, I took 2 steps and the whole thing just sloshes forward and every cup falls off. And I was like, all right, well, good thing we're pouring shitty champagne for this New Year's toast.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta go. I gotta
Oh my
go.
God. That's yeah. The side jobs, I'm like, I've delivered a pizza before. Like
Mm,
and I was like using my GPS to go right down the street because I was like new to LA and I was so lost. And I think the guy at the door was like, what are you doing here? Like, like I don't think because I'm like all dolled up, like, hi, here's your pizza. Like just
yeah.
like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed new to LA. And I was like, wow, but then I booked a commercial and I quit the job. I was like, I can't be a waitress anymore. I can't do it.
Nice. Wait, did you feel confident after booking work to quit your side jobs? Like how did that go for you? Because I was always too scared.
I have always like for the past, I mean, since I've lived out here, I have my cosmetology license. So I've always worked in some sort
Mm,
of like spray tans or hair removal or hair salon. Like I've always been in that. And that's always been my side hustle. And it wasn't until like I booked a national commercial, that's when I was waitressing. And I
mm.
hated that job so much that I was just like, I'm done. Like I can't be here anymore. And I mean, that was back in the day when you could make a shit ton of money from commercials too, I feel like, where now it's not the
Hmm.
same. But I mean, you could still
I
make
mean,
a
listen,
decent
sometimes though,
amount.
you get lucky.
Yeah.
You get lucky. I just had
Yeah.
two national commercials playing at the same time. I had a very good year last year.
The Tidy Cats one, I see it all the time.
Yes, yes, I have that. That's still playing, and I have a secret deodorant one
I love that.
that just ended that played for a
Hmm.
year. So I was like deodorant and cat litter, which is not the pictured life I felt at all when I moved to Los Angeles. I thought I was going to be a movie star, and let me tell you, after having a year of having a commercial play about deodorant and cat litter, I am happy.
Right. You're like, I'm fine with that. You're like, does Tampax need
Hmm.
somebody? I'm on it. Like, why
Yeah,
not?
honestly, like Vagisil, I'll take
Yeah.
it. I have my no, I don't care.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
not care.
Yeah. So you have this podcast where you're basically giving people survival guides and kind of like
Mm,
a guide, like a complete source of everything. Did you have somebody like that in your life for you when you moved out here? Like, did you have somebody? Because
mm.
I know when I moved out here, I didn't know a single person. I knew one person, but it wasn't like a very, very close relationship at the time. Now she's my boss. And
Hmm.
she was always somebody that I would call, like if I was like in a bind or something, like I knew I had her, but I didn't have anybody being like, you need to get an actor's access, you need to do this, you need headshots, you like I was out
Yeah.
here with not a clue in the world of what to do. And I'm wondering if the reason you started One Broke Actress is because you didn't have that, so you're like, let me be that for somebody else, or was there somebody in your life that really inspired you?
It was a mix. I moved out here knowing exactly one person from college, and we weren't close. She's great. She's actually now filmmaking in Arkansas. She's amazing. Her name is Lauren Sweetser, and she lived in Playa Vista,
Mhm.
which is essentially another continent when I moved to like downtown LA.
Right.
So we weren't really in touch. So I came out here with nothing and no one. And I was just like, okay. And I say that I came out here with a shit ton of privilege and my parents paid for my college. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have credit card debt. I didn't have college debt. I came out
Mm-hmm.
here but ready to pay for my own life and do my own things. And I think I had $1,000 in savings or $1,200. And I thought, like, this is gonna do for a while. And so I spent my first 2 weeks trying to get a job. And I didn't understand where you got auditions. I didn't know where anything came from, but I knew I needed a job. I ended up getting a job at the Sunset Marquis Hotel, which is still open in
Mm-hmm.
West Hollywood. And there was a girl who was also a hostess with me, and her name was Ashley Platts. And I remember the night that I met her, and she was like, where do you live? And I said, I live in Lincoln Heights outside of downtown. She goes, nope. And she gets out a pen and she starts making lists. And she was like, these are places you can live.
Mm.
And this is how, and I was like, wait, so like, okay, that's cool. I can do that. Weird. You said you auditioned for something. Did you, how, where did that, how?
Yeah.
she, he was like, "Oh, okay, so you need to get on Actors Access." And that night I went home and I joined Actors Access and I was like, "This is where everything is." Like,
Yeah.
wow, like, oh my God. And I had headshots that I took back in St. Louis that were fine, but now they would never fly. And I got by with those. And I had signed with a commercial agent right away. And so I went on 1,000 non-union commercials. I'm sure I made
Mm-hmm.
like $200 from half of the work I did. And I just went like off the wall, like trying to get everything on Actors Access. I would submit, this is so embarrassing. I submitted for everything I thought I could do, even if it asked for a person who was completely different from me, because I thought they don't know what my skills are. But what I didn't understand is this is no longer college theater. This is not like
Mm-hmm.
we'll find someone who can play this role. It's we're going to find this role.
Mm-hmm.
And this person already exists somewhere. And I didn't understand how that worked. I didn't understand the business at all. So I applied for everything. And Ashley was definitely there for so much of it. And she was so helpful. And it's funny, we've been in each other's worlds on and off for years. And we actually reconnected a couple of months ago and did a version of Artist Way together. And then she actually just introduced me to my new manager as well. So
Amazing.
it's funny how those, yeah, those relationships that feel like LA's a weird town for that. You can meet someone and you can not talk to them for 6 years, and then you kind of reconvene and you
Mm-hmm.
realize that you can still be in the same place. You can reconnect, and that person might have a great impact on your life in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Ashley knew what she was doing at the time. I don't think she realized that she was essentially mentoring me. And now she does it for a ton of actors. She actually tangibly mentors people. But at the time, she was just being kind because I mean, I came from a town with 7 Walmarts. I didn't know how to pay for parking. I didn't know. I was lost.
Yeah.
So she was a very, very good example. And I wish to be that and more to everyone I can be now because it's so confusing and it's so weird and you think it's going to be one thing and it's something else. And sometimes the videos I make on things like Instagram feel silly, but there's maybe like one fact in the caption that someone didn't know
Mm-hmm.
or someone felt seen from it. And I think, okay, well, then that's the thing I did today. Maybe I'm
Right.
not in some big, massive universe on some movie screen right now, but I'm making a difference. And then one day that message will be amplified by whatever I do next.
Right. I love that. And I love what you're doing because it does break down the barrier of this isn't like we think it's unattainable. We think that what we see
Yeah.
on social media, we're like, well, God, they're doing all of this, and like I am not doing any of this. And like, I mean, it really happened a lot when I started this podcast too. I'm like, well, I'm not getting this person, and like my downloads are this, and but like
Hmm.
I'm also have to realize like I'm doing this by myself. I'm new to this. And like we all
Yeah.
start at this tiny idea. And then, like you said, it's like if it's helping one person, then it's helping one person. And if it's helping five, amazing. And if in 6 years somebody's like, I listened to your podcast, great. Like, so I love that
Yeah.
you're doing that. And I love that you are so open and honest about what a day in your life looks like and how because it's scary to be vulnerable, especially to people on the internet. And I
Yeah.
just find the people that I gravitate towards mostly in life are the ones who are like so courageous in who they are, and they just put it all out there in a way that is so inspiring. And so I love that you're doing this, and I wish I had something like this when I was younger, because I mean, and even now it's incredible because I still don't feel like I have my footing out here. Even though I am like been out
Yeah.
here for a while, I still am like, is there something else I could be doing?
Yeah. Yeah. That's so funny you say that. I just made a video yesterday about actor guilt because it's such a thing we carry with us. It's
Mhm.
heavy, right? It's heavy
Mhm.
because I wonder what this job was truly like before social media. Because even when I moved here in 2011, we like Instagram still existed and Facebook was very popular. So I don't know what this was like back when you had to hear through your agent that your friend was working.
Mhm.
I wonder if that felt better or worse, or if you felt more isolated. But it's a very lonely job, and you constantly feel like you're not doing enough. And I still feel that way. Like it's something I've been battling a lot
Mhm.
indefinitely, but I have a business where I produce people's podcasts and YouTube, and it's pretty successful. And I'll have a good day with business, and then I'll think, well, I didn't do anything for acting today. It's
Mhm.
like what you did was you paid your bills and other people's, because my company only hires creatives. So right now I have 4 actors who work for me.
Mhm.
So I made their lives a little bit better. They didn't have to have the nannying jobs that we had,
Right.
because this is something they're doing to
Right.
get money, and they work from home and they make their own hours and all of those things. And uh, eh, I I think it's something we all carry. But then I started to feel like every actor I talk to on the podcast or in real life, the people who are successful also have a lot of other shit going on.
Mhm.
Like they are concerned about their kids' school, or they are not sure if they're going to have to leave their agent and go to UTA to grow any further than they are. Or does it make sense for them to take this commercial campaign because it makes them lesser for, streaming shows or something like that? Like everyone feels like they're not doing enough and somebody else is making more money. And so, I mean, I know
Mhm.
people who are on TV shows, and when they go on hiatus, their cast and crew do movies, and they feel like they're not doing enough because they're not doing a movie in between seasons.
Right.
So if we know everyone feels this way, can we like lessen the bar a little? And I think the fear of lessening the bar, at least for myself, and you can tell me if you identify with this, but the fear of lowering that stress threshold and that anxiety and guilt of not doing enough is that then we will be lazy actors, or we won't do enough and we'll miss our shot, or we'll miss our thing,
Mhm.
and we will just stagnate.
Mhm.
But I don't have any evidence that me slowing down has ever stopped
Right.
me from achieving more. I have no evidence. In fact, I kind of have evidence against it,
Mhm.
that every time I allow myself to relax a little, things go pretty well. And that's almost more terrifying because then you have to trust.
Yes, that is the position. I literally was talking to my girlfriend about it this whole morning. I'm like, being in this vulnerable state right now of things going well in my life, I'm like, I can't breathe. And I'm like, what is
Yeah.
wrong with me? Like,
Yeah.
nothing is wrong. But I literally am like, wait, everything is going really well. So my brain can't just accept this. And again,
Yeah.
though, everything works out when you're just enjoying the moment and you're relaxed and you're present. And the second, I mean, the universe to me just smells desperation. When you're like, I need this, I want this, I need this, I
Mm,
want this. The universe is like, nope, we're not giving her anything. But then the second you're like,
yeah.
okay, like everything's good, like more amazing things can find you. But then you have that little dark cloud that's creeping in that's like, mm-mm, like the other shoe's gonna drop. Don't get comfy. So it is, it's hard. It's
Yeah.
scary.
And it's so scary to think that you're doing well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's art. But isn't that like when you picture your dream life, you're feeling that way.
Yeah.
You're not feeling like you're looking for the next problem.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can tap into that already, like what a gift.
Yeah.
And this doesn't mean that we stop doing things. This doesn't mean we become couch potatoes indefinitely. Like, yes, we all should have a potato day occasionally. I think it's great for your soul. I'm not good at sitting still, so my potato day looks very different than other people's, but what to each his own. But that doesn't mean you're not going to do anything. It doesn't mean that you're going to stop working on your career, or it doesn't mean you're going to stop creating your own thing,
Mhm.
or not showing up for people. It means while you're doing the thing you feel like you need to be working on, you're not going to be worried about the 17 other things you're not working on.
Mm-hmm.
So I recently, like, was it last year, was it 2 years ago, I can't remember. My voiceover agent left my voiceover agency and was going to a new agency. And she said, "Do you want to come with me?" And I have not had a great luck with voiceover. I've never really pursued it. I've taken some classes, but it's just not my passion.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I work with some dubbing companies, so I do some dubbing just because they have me on file and it's fun. But I'm not pursuing it. And I realized if I didn't have those occasional auditions come in that just make me stressed, that I feel like I don't have a system for, I don't really know what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
it's not my goals, I realized I wanted to stop. So I said, you know what? I think I'm going to take a break. You go enjoy your new company, do your thing, and I'll let you know if and when I want to come back. And she was like, great, have at it, do your thing. And I don't really miss it right now. I
Mm-hmm.
don't miss it. And it's one thing I've taken off my plate. And I think as actors, we're told, like, you never know what's going to be the thing. Maybe you're going to be a print model. Maybe you're going to be in
Yeah.
voiceover. Maybe you're going to be, so you should do it all. And my acting work has gotten so much better because I'm not so spread
Yeah.
on 1,700 areas, and letting go of that quote unquote opportunity and making it not guilt ridden and making it less push of myself has made me better focused on whatever comes next. And then, like a couple weeks later, I got an email from a casting director I really, really like. And they said, "Hey, I'm teaching this invite only class. There's 15 people. I'd like you to be in it." And I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing next. Like,
Yeah.
this makes sense. And you have to be present for those things to come in, or else you're just running around trying to make them all work.
Yeah. Yeah. I agreed. How do you prevent, because being an actor is a lot, doing a podcast is a lot. There's a lot of things where you do feel like you have to go, go, go. And then we have a social life and you are in a relationship and you have two dogs. Like
Mm-hmm.
we have full lives. How do you
Yeah.
prevent burnout, or if you start seeing yourself feeling burnt out, how do you reconnect?
Mm. I would love to hear everyone's answer for this. Mine, uh, I have 3 dogs, which is,
Oh my
I
gosh.
don't recommend, by the way. It's the most expensive thing I've ever done in my entire life. Love them dearly. Every single one of them is the light of my life, but also, Jesus God, is
Yeah.
so expensive. Uh, the older I get, the less I feel a push towards burnout because my priorities have shifted.
Mhm.
There's this weird sense of in your 20s that you're supposed to achieve everything right then, especially with acting. We're sold this like idea of 20 somethings being the hot thing and like that's your window of opportunity. And like, that's some bullshit. It's like
Yeah.
not true at all.
Yeah.
In fact, the roles have only gotten better as I've gotten older. The characters are so much more
Mhm.
interesting. And
Mhm.
I'm more interesting. I was so boring when I was 20. But I actually schedule a lot less. So things when people schedule with me, like we scheduled this so long ago because I probably parse this stuff out way more.
Mhm.
I try not to do a bunch of my own podcasts and then other people's podcasts. I also started hiring help where I need it.
Mhm.
So my production company produces my podcasts. They also cut my YouTubes, stuff that I thought that if I didn't do it would make me less of a creator. But if I did it, it wouldn't get done.
Mm.
So things like pushing projects and getting help, whether it's something like that or whether it's we had friends over for dinner this weekend, and I looked at my husband and I was like, I need you to like clean the kitchen and the bathrooms, and then I will feel like I can do the rest. And he's like, okay, great. Like that level of communication really helps me.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I feel like I have a week coming up that has a bunch of stuff, and if I feel myself getting pre-stressed, so I'm not even in the week yet, I'm actually in a chill day, like a Saturday, and I
Mm-hmm.
look at the week ahead and I'm like, oh my God, this is like, oh God, this week's going to be a lot. If I feel that, I have to take things out.
Yeah.
I have to, because the second I go into one of those weeks, it's when I get a bunch of auditions. And then those are going to suffer because I'm trying to just push through. And nothing I do is that important. I run an online, like working actor social media. I run a podcast production company. I have people I hire who run all of the side things for me. And nobody's bleeding out on a table. Like
Right.
none of this is life changing. Like if I didn't post on social media for a month, people wouldn't die. Like no one would,
Mm-hmm.
nothing is that important.
Right.
So if I have to push something, I do. And I tell all of my clients, I tell anyone I work with in any capacity, I'm an actor in Los Angeles, and there are several people on staff with us, so you'll always be taken care of. But you need to know that my schedule could change easily. And if it needs to, we'll move you around. Like if we have a meeting, something like that, we'll make it work as best as we can. But there's always a chance that things might change. We say it for our online community that I run with Gabrielle Been Lost. We run an actor community online, and we preface everything with schedule subject to change.
Mm-hmm.
And when you lead with that, with I am a working actor and things will change, it just gives people an ease, and it gives you an ease to be able to change things as needed. So I tried as much as I can to prevent it. And then if I do have a big day where I have a lot going on, so I had a lot yesterday. Today I have I had a training session this morning, walked my dogs. I took an everything shower,
Oh, I had one of those
which is very
yesterday.
important. It's so nice. It's very
Best.
refreshing. Because tomorrow I'm filming content.
Uh-huh.
So I know that it's going to take one thing away from tomorrow. I'm not going to have to wash my hair.
Yeah.
I'm doing this podcast with you. And then yesterday I had a really long audition I had to film. Later this week, I have a callback that's like 8 pages.
Congrats.
So today, thank you. So today I am doing this and one other meeting, and that's it. And yeah, I'm gonna answer emails and like check on stuff, but I'm not doing a bunch today because I needed to ease off for earlier this week and later this week. And
Mm-hmm.
that's, one of the gifts of our acting careers and a lot of our crazy jobs is that we don't work normal schedules. And sometimes it's a burden, but sometimes it's a huge plus. So we
Right.
can make it work. Because how many times have you worked a scene on the weekends because you had to, So it's like, why can't we take a Tuesday to take a chill?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Now, it seems like you are a person who is really good at enforcing boundaries based off of everything you
Mm,
just said. And
it's
that's
new.
okay. I was going to ask, like, have you always been that way? Or was there an incident where
Mm-mm.
you're like, if I don't start doing this, I'm going to lose my shit?
Yes. My God, it was like my early 30s.
Mm,
And also I started taking some anxiety medication last year. I started on Prozac, and it has changed my whole
hold on
life.
a second. To be completely transparent, I have been thinking about going on Prozac, and I literally had a doctor's appointment yesterday and I got too scared and I canceled it.
Mm,
And like this is so vulnerable for me to say like publicly, but because
yeah.
you said it, I feel like I could cry right now because I've been like really like can I still do this on my own? Like I don't know. I don't know. Like there's
Oh,
a little bit of me that's like I don't know if I want to go on medication and I know so many people who are on it, but
mm,
then I get PMDD, which is like so
mm.
so
Oh my
bad.
God. Oh
So
God, you
bad.
should absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a medical doctor, but
Yeah.
uh,
But hearing you
dude,
say that it's helped you so much, I'm like, you know what? It might just
yeah.
be time to just try it. Like I should.
Listen, if you had allergies, you would probably take allergy medication. You wouldn't assume that you could get rid of your own allergies,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So if my brain isn't producing the right chemical mixture to make me understand that not everything is such a high high or such a low low, and there is a medium point. Yeah, and I can't, and I would take my dogs for a walk, and I would leave the house and be like, today is such a nice day. The sun is shining, and by the time I got from that 2 block radius, I would have convinced myself that I'm never going to work again, that that what is the point of the work that I'm doing anyway? Like, does anybody want to watch my social media if I'm just an actor who can't find work? And like in a 5 minute, 10-minute walk,
Mm-hmm.
my brain would just fill me with so many doubts that I would come back and my mood would be totally shifted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard to do your best work when you don't trust yourself.
Yeah.
It's so hard. And I know you're vibing with this so hard, and I just feel like you might like listen, look into it. And anyone who's like listening to this, there was a weird thing that someone told me. I didn't even think about this. I was nervous too. I was like, what if you'll love this? I told my therapist, I was like, what if my anxiety is my edge? Like, what if so stupid. I was
Who
like,
am I if
what
I'm not a
if
neurotic
this is the
psychopath?
thing?
Yeah.
Who am I? Like, what if this is a part of my personality and it's also a part of my casting and it's the reason I'm so productive and like this
Mm-hmm.
is the thing that makes me and da da da. And she laughed and she was like, no. She was like, it's probably, she's like, sure, okay, maybe we work with that scenario, but it's probably making you a lesser version of yourself
Mm-hmm.
because you're being pulled in so many mental directions. So the Prozac was a really interesting idea. And I also found out, no one told me this, but it's commonly prescribed for people who are overcoming eating disorders. And I have marinated in that pool longer than I would like to
Mm-hmm.
have, and no one told me that. No one ever told me that was an option. And the more I researched it, the more I found about the correlation between the control tendencies of eating disorders and the mental health aspect. And I started taking it last March. I remember I filled the prescription and I was like, yes, I'm just a loser now who can't take care of herself. And, all these weird things that no one told me. I just assumed. Like, I don't even take headache medicine if I have a headache. I'm like, I can power through this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
fine. I wish I would have taken it sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a different person. I'm enjoying moments very differently. I remember the first time that it really hit me, I was watching TV with my husband, and all of a sudden my head goes, you're only watching this show. You're not thinking about the 700 things that you are going to do later this week or the things you did before this.
Sam, that was
And I was
literally
like,
me last night.
whoa,
It's literally me last night.
dude.
I'm like with this guy, and he is so clearly just watching Buffy with no problem. And I'm sitting there thinking of all of these horrible things. And I'm like, wow, he's just really enjoying the show. Like, that must be so nice.
Yes. Yes, that was exactly how I felt. And I remember the first time I caught myself just watching a show. And I thought, holy cow, is this how other people feel? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about the fact that I also need to do laundry and that I should have set out my meal for already tomorrow. And man, am I ready for this meeting? And like, do I
Mm-hmm.
really have those lines for that? I'm not perfect. This is not like fixed every problem in my life, but the amount of circular voices in my head the switch has dimmed.
Mm.
And I'm not it's like we've just like turned the volume down a little bit. And I think there's a weird thing about it being with actors that we're supposed to feel all these feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And I still feel my feelings.
Yeah.
Trust. Like, they don't go away. You're still a human. And everyone's dosage is different, and there's tons of different prescriptions at this point that people can look into. And I'm not a doctor and I know nothing about that
Mm-hmm.
world, but what I do know is it's made me a much happier person. And also my husband was like, I'm so lucky that I get to know
Mm.
you from this perspective
Aw.
because I'm much more fun for him to be around. Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. I'm so much better to him and everyone else in my life. And I can think about other people more than just thinking about myself. And I would have never realized that this was an option. It's also like weirdly the cheapest medication. I think I paid $3 for like 3 months of it. I don't
Amazing.
understand it, but whatever. It's
Amazing.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Well,
But
see, I love
I
that.
I
And
couldn't recommend it
you, I mean,
more.
I couldn't, this is like talk about like synchronicity and like trusting the timing of your life. Cause I literally, the appointment was yesterday
Yeah.
and I canceled it. And then you said that. And I'm like, and this is why I think I don't want to like get on my soapbox of like why I think my podcast is important, but also like these conversations, even if nobody else heard this, like I got to have this conversation and it helped me and it made me feel like I could do this because I look at you and you are successful, you're beautiful, you're kind, you're vulnerable, and you are you're taking Prozac. That doesn't make you, you know what I mean? Like you can have it all and still be like, I need a little help. I can't do this on my own. And I was looking at it like, well, I'm a failure if I haven't tried every single thing before getting
Yeah.
on medication. But I'm like, no, like I
It's weird.
literally have this person being like, it's okay, like giving me the permission to go there. So thank you for that. I mean,
Yeah.
incredible.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that we could have this conversation. And
Mhm.
listen, I said earlier, when I feel like I'm getting towards burnout, I tag in help. This is the same thing. This
Mhm.
is me tagging in help. It
Mhm.
just is in a different capacity. And I've done all the herbal remedies, I've done all the sleep things, I've
Yeah.
done all the meditation things, I've done it all. And I'm saying a lot of it has a lot of value, but when you don't make a chemical in your brain like other people
Mhm.
do, like it would be like I said, you would take allergy medicine if you had
Right.
allergies. And I think just looking into it, like we have the capacity. It's pretty cool. And not everyone needs to be on it. Not everyone needs to be on it forever.
Yeah.
But I'm super happy and I'm really, really excited for you that this could
Mm.
potentially add because
Mhm.
you deserve to have quiet moments inside your own head.
Oh, thanks for saying that out loud.
Yeah.
You're right, I
Yeah.
do.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry.
I
See, I
know.
still have
I know. I'm
emotions.
gonna cry. I'm like, "Don't cry. Don't cry, Brittany." Ooh,
Girl, you could cry.
no, that was it's truly, like, I really needed that. I really needed that. I'm, like,
Mm.
sweating now. Taking off my clothes,
I
like,
know, it's
"Don't
warm.
cry."
It's a lot of feelings.
I know. Um, to get to something a fun question, what was the
Okay.
first time you saw yourself in a character? Or when you were, like, younger and watching
Mm,
TV and you were like, "I wanna do that."
Oh, what a fun question. My answer is weirdly that the first time I remember thinking that I could be an actor was, did you I don't know how old you are, but did you ever watch Tool Time?
Okay. Yeah, I'm 33, but Tim is,
Okay.
he's, like, our regular client at the salon, and
Oh, that's so funny.
the first time he came in, I just have to I've said it before on here. The first time he came in, it was like right before Christmas and he wished me a Merry Christmas and I went in the corner and I cried.
Wait, that's
I
amazing.
was like,
That's
Santa,
amazing.
Santa just wished me Merry Christmas.
The Santa wish you Merry. Oh my God, what a
Yeah,
dream.
so funny. But okay,
Love
tool
that.
time.
Lo
Tim the Tool Man Taylor.
yes, yeah. So, yes, Tim the Toolman Taylor and Jonathan Taylor Thomas, like, don't get me
Mhm.
started, but, uh, they have in the show, after the credits would roll, they would have, like, bloopers, and I
Mm.
remember watching those and thinking, "Oh my god, these adults are at work, and they're having so much fun." I thought, "Oh, that's what work can look like? That sounds so fun.
Mhm.
I wanna do that." And it seemed like such a pipe dream, which is part of the reason I like to talk to actors from other markets because it feels like if you're not in LA or New York that you don't have an option. That's no longer the case.
Mhm.
But I was in the middle of Missouri and I remember after that, later on as I grew up, I remember this article with it's Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, Melissa
What's
Joan
her
Hart,
name? Melissa Joan Hart.
who also
There was an
comes to the
article in
salon.
oh my God, where hit all the
I know.
hits
I'm
of
living
the
my
late 90s, early
yeah,
2000s.
I'm living my 90s dream. That's probably what keeps me at
Ah,
work.
TGIF. You know what? I would keep me at work too.
It's
But She did an article in, I mean, I was living in the middle of Oklahoma at the time. I didn't understand. My parents didn't come from artists. Like we had no connection to this at
Mm-hmm.
all. And she did an article for the USA Today Sunday Morning Times. They do
Yeah.
like people pieces and stuff. And I remember my dad saved it for me and I read it and it was her talking about her career and how she got her first audition, all these things. And I think I must have ripped a hole in that paper the amount of times I read it because I was like, where did she get the audition? Where
Mm.
did she get the audition? Like, I don't understand. Where do you get these auditions? Can I be seen for auditions? And I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
need to figure this out. I need to understand where to get auditions.
Yeah.
And it wasn't helpful at all. There was
Yeah.
no one who was telling me how to do it from Oklahoma. And then later on, I remember, oh my God, do you remember when Harry Potter was announced as casting?
Mm. That's
This was
very,
a major part of my life.
when it was like
Yeah, it
announced,
was, yes.
were you devastated that you
Yeah,
weren't
they were
in it?
announced they're doing, well, they were casting originally, and they said they were taking open submissions. And
Mm.
I thought, this is my chance. I had done maybe two plays in like the cafeteria at this point, and I thought that this is my in. So I wrote a letter to casting, which since then I've actually interviewed the casting director, Michelle Lewitt, who was partially responsible for opening the USA submissions in
Mm-hmm.
that casting project. And I was like, you totally got a letter from me. And it was a heartfelt letter of why I needed to be cast in Harry Potter, including a photo of myself that was like me in like a limited two top carving pumpkins. Like I thought I looked fire.
Limited
And
too.
I, yes, it was my one limited two shirt because I bought it with all my allowance because it was so
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
And I remember I wrote that letter and I was like, this is it. And I checked the mail every day afterwards because I was like, they're gonna like they would send a letter back to be like, come see us. I was so devastated, but I have to laugh because once again, I thought my self-awareness was high enough to realize that I didn't have enough experience to be Hermione. I thought that that character needed a very experienced actor. And so I said, I don't think I'm right for Hermione. But the character I thought I could play, the character I submitted for and said I thought this is so right was Cho Chang.
Oh. Oh no.
That's what growing up in the Midwest will do. Not a lot of diversity. I did not understand that that character probably didn't look like me. And
Oh
I was
no.
like, well, I don't have the acting experience to be a lead, but I could be a love interest.
Oh
I could
my
be
God.
this very clearly Asian role. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I was 11. I thought this was like a big deal. So I've clearly been delusional from a very early age,
Oh
and
my God.
we've
That's
learned a
incredible.
lot since then.
That's incredible. I love that so much. That's amazing. Is
Yeah, it was a
there
wild time.
a character that, like, when you were watching as you got older, you were like, I relate to this so much, and like where you see yourself so much
Mm,
in this specific character? Like, I think, like, for me,
mhm,
I always think about Lorelai Gilmore, and
mhm,
Rachel Green. Like, it's like a mixture of
mm,
them for me. And it's mostly, I look at these women who really just like went out on their own and made a life for themselves, because that's what I did,
yeah.
leaving my hometown, coming to LA. And like, they've got spunk and grit, and they're not the most graceful. So it's like, like, I really relate to these people. So I'm wondering if there's a character like that where you're like, where it's either your dream role or you're like, you
Mm.
see yourself so much in them.
I don't think I had one growing up. I think I always felt like I was like one step behind everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up, like I said, with a lot of body image issues, and no one I thought looked like me on TV. But recently, the show Physical on Netflix
Mm,
came out, and Rose Byrne is the lead. And in it, she struggles with binge eating and bulimia, and the portrayal of it, yeah, it's funny and it's a fun show to watch and all of these things. But the first season, the portrayal of her eating disorder and how it's like a secondary person inside of her brain is so well done. And it actually led to some lovely conversations between my husband and I at the time because
Mm,
I would like point at the screen and be like, and he would say, "Oh, wait," and he would pause it and he would say, "Is that what it really felt like?" And we would
mm,
talk about it, which was really cool. It really opened up a lot of doors that, he wasn't sure. And he's a personal trainer, so he asked me a lot of questions. He
mm,
said, like, if I felt like we had a client who was in this direction, like what would you say is like the right words? How would you approach someone with this? And we had like a lot of very interesting talks about it. And so I felt very seen.
mhm,
I would also be interested in seeing that story from a non-thin perspective because we
mhm,
seem we s- assume as a society that most women who have eating disorders are thin, and that's
mhm.
categorically false. And so I'd like to see that next. But this was a great jumping off point. I think they did a really good job with that show.
Yeah, that's why I love watching TV and movies with people because it opens up
Yeah,
conversation that you normally wouldn't have. Like, if something is a little bit
totally.
heavy and somebody sees you having a reaction to it, they're going to go, wait, why are you relating to this so much? And it's like an icebreaker. And it's kind of this, breaks down this wall of like, it's just about giving people permission to be who they are.
Mm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I love that. What about you? Where did you see yourself? You saw yourself first in those shows?
I mean, when I was younger, of course, I was all about like Lizzie McGuire. Like like
Ah,
Lizzie McGuire, it was like
well done show.
yeah, like it was just a show about a girl who didn't know her place and was, always felt not so cool, but and just uncomfortable in herself. And so I really like growing up, I was all about that. But then, yeah, as I've gotten older, it's just I see a lot of myself in Lorelai Gilmore or in Rachel, where it is just this kind of like, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do it my way. And I might be really
Yeah.
annoying the whole time, but you'll eventually fall in love with me. Like,
I understand that so well.
but like, I also say like for there's characters like I'll have to tap into where I'm like, and my therapist will say like, we'll say like, what would Lorelai do in this situation? Or, you know,
Mm,
like, because sometimes I feel like I can't get to that power on my own. Like I don't have it in me for the
yeah.
day. So I have to pretend to be somebody else. Like Brittany Rizzo is not cutting it today. So who can I be that will bring
Mm,
that out of me? So is there somebody like that for you?
God, I've never thought about it like that. No, but I really like that to think on the days that you just aren't. There's a lot of female athletes I get really inspired by
Mm,
because I think that they endure so much to get where they are, let
mhm.
alone to succeed in sports, but also just female athletes are always put on the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah.
So athletes are inspiring, very inspiring to me because I know how much work goes into that, and it just all the time. God, I'm so invested in people's the way they can physically show up. And I mean, Simone Biles stepping away from the Olympics a couple of years ago
Mhm.
was, I think, one of the biggest power moves of all time. And to deal with the fallout from that and also still stand in her power and as a Black woman, like
Mhm.
sh- she deserved more praise for that than I think she got at the time.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of seeing really strong women go like, "Okay, if they got through it, so can I." And like now after,
Yeah.
talking with you today, like that's how I feel about you. Like if she can do it, so can I, which is like beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm really excited for you. I'm really excited
Yeah,
for you. I think we were supposed to have this conversation today.
100%. Now, I have two more questions. Do you have time?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, one question, and this might be me projecting my own crazy like obsessive thoughts that I have. But like for
Mm-hmm.
me, I watch Friends every single night to go to bed. So
Mm.
every single night though, I'm hearing your job's a joke, you're broke, your love life's DOA before I go to sleep. So in my head, moments where I'm like, is this a self-fulfilling prophecy? Like, am I manifesting this so much in my brain because I can't just go like, this is an amazing theme song. I'm like, Brittany, you're listening to something tell you this, and like it's gonna come true if you keep putting it into your brain. So I had this thought with One Broke Actress. I'm like,
Hmm.
how has the title and the meaning changed for you? Because for me, I would be looking at
Mm,
One Broke Actress thinking, oh my God, I'm a broke actress. Like, this is what the hell is happening in my life. Where
yeah.
I'm sure that's not how you're looking at it at all. Like, I'm
Yeah.
convinced that everything I read and watch is going to affect me, which is why I only watch floofy feel good shows. So,
I understand that.
but even with friends, I could make it into something that's going to like
Mm.
put some sort of curse on my life somehow. So
Yeah.
how has one
Yeah. I
actress like
understand.
changed?
It did start from a place of I was broke. And I've always said like broke is financially, physically, mentally, or otherwise. Like there's a lot of way to be broke. But now I'm at a place where I gotta be honest with you, I started my LLC 2 years ago and it's called One Broke Actress.
Mhm.
And I now have a corporation underneath the name. And so now when I get paid for acting jobs, they send checks to One Broke Actress, which
Hell yeah.
is just the most hell yeah feeling in the
Yeah.
whole world. It feels so fucking good.
Yeah.
And I actually think it's hilarious. I find that taking stuff too seriously for me just results in me like harping on things that don't matter. So I
Mhm.
actually I'm very much like a tongue in cheek, have a laugh at this type of shit person because nothing is that serious. Like we are on a floating rock in the middle of nowhere and we are like all kind of an accident. But so like let's just have a really good time while we're here. And One Broke Actress is a way of me being like, we're all just the same. Like I interview people on One Broke Actress who have millions and millions and millions of dollars. And it doesn't matter, right?
Mhm.
It has nothing to do with like their day to day as much as we think it does. And I think it's a really fun thing. I think it's funny. When people don't get it, they don't get it. I
Right.
had a producer of a project I was going on with. By the way, this project never even aired. So the joke's on them because One Burn Actors airs every single day on my Instagram channel. They pulled me aside and they said, I think that it's not good for you. I think you should name it One Stoked Actress. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll
bro.
think about it. Yeah, exactly. You could tell it was a bro. I was like, I'll think about it. And then I walked away and I was like, never gonna happen, dude. You don't get it. You're not in on the joke.
Right.
I think it's funny. I think it's fun.
Mhm.
And I think now, I mean, I've only made since 2021, I've only made a better income and a better life for myself
Mhm.
year over year the more I lean into how great big of a deal One Broke Actress is. And
Yeah.
I think we're all broke actors at the end of the day. We all feel a little lonely. We
Mhm.
feel like there's something missing. We're trying to fill a void. We have the actor guilt. Like
Mhm.
it's pretty universal. And it was a way for me to make myself gently self deprecating in a way that's fun, but also in a way that people can relate to. And listen, if someone it should give you advice, it should be someone who has been through the shit in this business. It should
Mhm.
be like I love those actors who are massive millions and $1 million earners now, but they had black and white headshots.
Yeah.
Like they are not playing in the same game I'm playing in.
Yeah.
So I don't really want their advice right now. I want to know how you like
Mm.
Tom Hanks, you ain't doing self tapes, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, and if you are, can I see them? I would love to see what they look
Right.
like.
Right. Could you
So no, I
imagine?
think it's empowering and I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
I love that so much. What's the show that when you're like, you need to decompress or you're having a bad day or you're like, I just
Mm.
need to reconnect with myself? What show are you turning on?
I'm a reality TV girl. I am a Bravo person. And I, for so long, thought it. And I thought, no, 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 like it's not cool. Like everyone has like a cool show. Like people watch It's Always Sunny or, Curb Your Enthusiasm or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. I want to watch The Real Housewives of New York season 6. Like I want to watch Summer House or Vanderpump Rules or something like that because it's so cringy and it's so funnily produced and it's so it's great. It's like background music. I can turn it on. I can be second screen, right? I can be working on like
Mm-hmm.
some product presentation in Canva or something, and I can look up and I can know exactly what's happening. And it's like mental candy, and I'm not
Hmm.
necessarily getting a lot out of it, but
Yeah.
I also think it's really fun. You could turn it into an actor exercise if you think about the way real people, when they're held up to listen back to themselves and watch back to themselves, and like
Mm.
these are untrained people, the
Yeah.
further the seasons go on, the more media training they get. But people are react weird when they're put in different scenarios, and I
Uh-huh.
think it's really interesting to watch and really fun. So I'm a Bravo girl.
It's
Hmm.
so funny because I wasn't. And then my roommate, they're like my swing shift roommate. Like whenever they're in LA, they come stay with me. They literally just left. Last week did Watch What Happens Live as one of the bartenders. And yeah,
Cool.
and Lindsay and Gabby from Summer House were the guests. And so they got me into Summer House. I had never watched reality, maybe like the Osbournes back in the day. Like that was the most reality
Oh
TV
yeah,
that
yeah,
I
yeah.
watched. I'm so into Summer House now, like it's my job. It's ridiculous.
I This season, I'm like, get to the good stuff. Let me see you
I
guys
know.
break up. Like
I know.
there's there's also a joy in being removed from a situation, which as actors
Right.
we're so trained to put ourselves in scenarios and feel the
Mm-hmm.
feelings. And when I'm watching reality TV, I'm like, well, whatever. You're gonna get like an Instagram deal out of this, or you're gonna make some
Mm-hmm.
money. You're making some money just existing and feeling these emotions on camera, so you're good. But
Right.
it is so fun. I Summer House is low key really good. I like watching rich people make stupid mistakes. It's so fun.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed. It's so this whole Carl and Lindsay thing is so like because I'm like, Carl's kind of an asshole at the end of the day. Like
Did you watch earlier seasons yet?
I didn't. I started like maybe 3 or 4
Okay.
years ago watching Winter in Summer House.
Okay. So if you ever watch like the first season of Summer House, Carl in his interview sections, I mean, listen, I don't know anything from anything, but he looks like he's fucked up. Like he looks like he's drunk or high or something in all
Hmm.
his interviews. And so to see him progress and get where he is now, like I was really proud of him. And
Yeah.
so viewer to be like, yay, yay, yay. But then when I hear that he insisted the cameras came back for their like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm concerned.
I know. I feel like there's like a little bit of there's some narcissism in there that I'm just like, I don't love. But
Yeah.
Lindsay's also crazy. Lindsay's also, but she's like
She's
such good
crushed.
television.
Yep. And her mom left her when she was really young.
Yeah.
And like that was a whole this season one is actually very interesting. Also to see Kyle single, it's a whole
Oh God, I can't
yeah.
imagine because
I
he's
would
still
say
so
if you want to
crazy
go back
now.
and get weird,
I gotta say, I think Kyle's like
yes,
my
this is
favorite
where
though. He's
yeah.
so funny.
Yes. He would not have been your favorite in the earlier seasons when he was single. I like him so much more as a married
Hmm.
person, so I hope they can figure their shit out. But
Hmm.
I think he's really fun and funny. Yeah, and I'm really liking what's his name from the newest season with the mustache,
West.
who's dating. Yes,
I feel like it's
I
gonna
like him
blow
a
up.
lot.
I feel like it's gonna blow up. I feel like he's being a
I
little fuck
know,
boy.
I know, but he's totally the kind of guy that I would fall for because he's just mostly funny.
Funny. Yeah. Yeah.
He would totally be my guy. Totally be my guy. I mean, unfortunately, I'm married, but like we're good.
It's so
And I never
funny
had to go
because
somewhere else. But
this morning, like Jake and I always make fun of the way Jake was my friend who was on Watch What Happens Live. We always make fun of the way Craig and Paige talk to each other because he always answers the FaceTime going, "Hey, cutie." And so in the morning,
yes,
that's what
yes,
we say to each other, and it makes us laugh so hard because it's so cringy. Hey, cutie. It's like, oh,
they are
stop.
really cringy. I know, I
I
know, I
love
know. I
that.
do like them though too. There's a weird thing about them that I like a lot.
I think she's just I feel like her career is just starting and he's just at where he's at. Like, I don't know. Like, he clearly wants to
Yeah.
settle down and have a family, and where she's like, I'm just like beginning my life. I don't know. I mean, this is so fun to talk about, though.
I know, it's kind of fun. This is why people have Bravo podcasts.
I know. I know. Well, Sam, I have taken up a lot of your time and it has been so incredible. Like I feel like I could talk to you for like another 3 hours right now. I
Me
It's
too.
been
Me
amazing. And
too. This was great.
Before you go, I just want to ask one last question that I ask everybody. What is the best piece of advice that someone has given to you, whether it be for your mental health or for your career, or what's the best piece of advice that you give to other people?
The best, definitely the best piece of advice that I've taken and I've also given it along the way, and I can't remember who told it to me first, but was it sounds shitty when you say it out loud, but no one's thinking about you as much as you're thinking about you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really delve into that, it's actually really freeing because we get so caught up in, should I put myself out there? Should I do this thing I really want to do? Or is it cringy? Or are people going to make fun of me or whatever? And yeah, sure, that might happen. People might do that, but no one's thinking about you as much as you are. I am thinking about myself all day long, and if you know that no one's thinking about you as much, it takes some of that heaviness off.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a part of it to where for actors, I'm like, if no one's thinking about you and you're like, wow, I just wish I could book something. It's like, well, what part of your talent are you putting out into the world? What
Mm-hmm.
are you showcasing on a day-to-day basis, whether it's on social media or whether it's the way you talk to people when you go to the grocery store? What part of you are you exporting publicly? And I think leaving a good impression with people and finding ways for people to think about you is really positive. So it takes some stress off and also adds some onus if you want to have it that way. So that's my favorite piece of advice.
I love that. I love that. And I'm going to take that with me today
Yeah,
because, I mean, this whole
take it.
conversation is exactly what I needed to hear today.
I
Truly.
love this. It was meant to be,
I
Brittany.
know.
Thank you so much for having me. You
Of
are
course.
so lovely. And I would like an email back from you when you delve further into this mental health area.
Yes. I mean, if you're okay with it, I might be emailing you questions about it.
Yeah. Send me some, please.
Okay. I adore you. Thank you so much for doing this. This was
Yeah.
incredible. Have the best day.
Too. It was so nice to meet you.
Bye.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.